Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play-to-earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And in today's video, I want to talk about, I guess, an important topic that I would consider for the upcoming Riftwatchers release here that's pretty much coming very soon. And really what I want to talk about is why, as a Splinterlands savvy player, you don't want to miss the boat here. And I have some important information and data that I want to share with you around SPS as it pertains to Riftwatchers. And I know I'm going to probably sound like a broken record here, but I think it's important that we review the data and just really understand really what's at stake here. Before we go into the data, I want to just announce I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. I just want to share today with you some data points that I find interesting. So with that being said, as we know, Riftwatchers is imminent. The release is going to happen sometime in the September or October timeframe at the latest. And what do we know? Well, we know that there's going to be 3 million packs available for sale. There will be a pre-sale process as part of that will likely involve vouchers, and that the only way to purchase Riftwatcher packs is with SPS, and you need to provide $5 in SPS per pack. Now, that's a lot to kind of unscramble when it comes to numbers and math around what that could possibly mean. But I want to give you some hypothetical examples that, well, just might kind of boggle the mind here. So let's just pull out the handy dandy calculator and walk with me through this exercise here for a moment. If we have 3 million packs being sold, and those 3 million packs are sold for $5 in SPS, that's $15 million in SPS that would have to be taken off the liquid market for SPS and added to the SPS DAO treasury. So at the current price of SPS right now, which if we look at CoinMarketCap, is right now at 0.05397. Actually, let's just refresh this here, see where we're at. Yeah, we're at 0.05397. Let's just say 0.054 for the sake of this video. If we're at 0.054, that means if Riftwatchers were to sell out, let's not talk about the time frame. Let's just say it sells out, period. Whether it sells out in a day, a month, a year, whatever the case may be, at the current price at 0.054 cents per SPS, that means 278 million, roughly rounded up here, SPS would be taken off the liquid market and go into the SPS DAO for future use for voting through the SPS governance program. What does $278 million SPS mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, if we look at the data here from Splinterlands here, look at the dashboard, total liquid SPS here is 448 million SPS, 278 million SPS taken off the market if that is removed and put into the SPS DAO, is basically over 60% of the liquid SPS would be removed from circulation, meaning that the total liquid SPS, if we just subtract here the total liquid SPS right now, would mean there would only be 171 million SPS left liquid after Riftwatchers were to sell out. Which is a pretty small amount in the grand scheme of things. Park that thought for a second, because I just want to show you the math here on what 60% of this liquid liquid SPS is. 60% is 269 million. we just saw that there'd be 278 million if Riftwatchers were to sell out, taken off the market and put into essentially a vault of SPS. What's important to note here, a couple factors that I want to have everyone keep in mind. One, it's kind of unprecedented. If more than let's say 61% of the liquid tokens are immediately removed from the market. That volume would just do crazy things to the price of SPS in the grand scheme of things if that were to be taken away and put in a vault essentially and locked away. That being said, we also know that there's going to be increased pressure around staked SPS here, right? Because we know that there's going to be a GLS or Genesis League Soccer airdrop based on your staked SPS. So it's likely that a lot of that staked SPS may not come out of unstaking, which again means there's going to be a shortage of liquid SPS if Riftwatchers sells. Obviously, selling out is not a guarantee, and it's probably going to happen over a period of time. But I think if you're bullish on the game Splinterlands, you do realize that Riftwatchers as a set will sell out at some point in time. I also want to call your attention to two other factors that I think are important in the market when we talk about Riftwatchers and SPS and this correlation between the two. Number one, the, let's say, 278 million SPS that is locked away in this SPS DAO as part of the Riftwatcher purchase. Remember, SPS is being used to purchase Riftwatcher packs, but if you're also not only a buyer of Riftwatchers, but you're also an SPS holder as a token perspective, well, you just got a double benefit. Not only did you get packs of cards and NFTs for Riftwatchers in Splinterlands, but you also just added value to your SPS token indirectly because you just took roughly $15 million if Riftwatcher sells out and added it to the value, the underlying value of the SPS token, basically by selling Riftwatcher out as a set, because that $15 million worth of SPS in current day value can be used by the SPS stakeholders in the future as a way to, well, continue rewards, create new reward pools for new games or new game modes, invest in sponsorships, marketing, burning. It can be used for all kinds of different reasons to further enhance the value of SPS in the future. Again, it's taking money in the ecosystem, giving it to the SPS stakeholders to, again, increase value. So $15 million in value goes into the SPS token, basically. You basically add, essentially, I guess you could say roundaboutly, $15 million in market cap to SPS by the sale of Riftwatchers. Additionally, also keep in mind that SPS validator license nodes are also a thing. And every time you purchase an SPS validator license node, you burn that SPS. It's 80% of the SPS used to purchase a validator node license is burned, which reduces the overall liquid or total supply of SPS even further, creating more value for SPS. Let's take a look at this in the white paper here. It says specifically 80% of the SPS tokens and 100% of the vouchers spent on node license will be burned, right? And the remaining 20% of the tokens are put in the SPS DAO Foundation. So again, you're taking 100% of the SPS off the market, 80% is being burned, 20% is being added back to the value of the SPS stakeholders moving forward, and you're reducing supply, not just liquid supply, but lifetime supply of SPS, at least 80% of that, with validator node license sales. And remember, what drives validator license node sales? Well, because validator license nodes drop SPS and vouchers, the price of SPS and vouchers, as that increases, leads to the sale of more license nodes. This is the way it works. So again, we're seeing all of this supply being taken off, all of this liquidity being removed, and we're seeing value being added back to the SPS token, which creates quite some interesting pressure here at the scale I don't think we've ever seen when it comes to the SPS token. Now, let's just take, for example, another set of numbers here. If we were to say that only the pre-sale were to sell out in Riftwatchers, meaning that players only bought the pre-sale packs and then stopped and never bought any more of Riftwatcher packs in the foreseeable future, what would that do to SPS? So we know that we've heard that there's going to be roughly 500,000 packs as part of the pre-sale, according to Nate. Roughly, I guess, I don't know what is that? That's about what? A little between like 17% or so of the total supply, roughly. So if there's 500,000 packs sold for $5 in SPS, that's $2.5 million worth of SPS divided by the price of SPS currently today means 46.3 million SPS would be taken out of the liquid market. That's still almost, well, it's actually over 10% of the liquid supply would immediately go away and get locked in the SPS DAO vault. What does 10% of the supply of SPS mean? Well, it's not a linear equation if that's taken off the market. We kind of have to look at the volume is going to really be the deciding factor. You can't just say, well, 10% of the liquid supply is gone. That means the price of SPS would go up 10%. It means it would go up, 0.54 cents. So that means SPS would be roughly 6 cents at that point in time. Well, that's not how it works. There's market books and orders for SPS across the tokens, the DeFi and the central exchanges. If we look, for example, at CoinMarketCap here, just as an example here, I've got up the last, looks like it's the last month's volume here of the chart. Let me just pull that up for the last month of volume on SPS. You can see here as we look across the volume here, the average volume is roughly 1.5 to 2 million. There are some spikes in here where we had between 4 to 10 million in volume. Most of the average volume is 1 to 2 million across the spectrum here over the last month. There are some days where there's 5 to 6 million, but let's say the average is 2 million here. Well, what we saw here is if just the pre-sale sold, the volume on the market would be 46 million tokens would be absorbed at that point in time from the liquid share. Now, that doesn't mean 46 million would necessarily be bought or sold, because there might be some of that SPS already in the possession of those that want to buy Riftwatcher packs. It might be on Hive Engine, it might be in the game, etc. But even if you say 50% of that 46 million would be bought on the market during the pre-sale, and let's say we feel the pre-sale is going to sell out in a day, that means the volume for that day of SPS would be 23 million on the pre-sale. So that obviously is going to move the price, and it's going to move the price upward. So what does that mean? Well, I'm not a financial advisor, but it means that if you bought SPS now, you could probably imagine during the pre-sale day that there would be a pump in price of SPS, because there's going to be certainly some SPS purchase that day, and there'll be more purchase than possibly there would be for sale. So that seems like maybe a good reason for investors outside of the ecosystem to buy SPS, perhaps between now and the Riftwatcher pre-sale. Just something to consider. If we go back to the original numbers where we saw that roughly 61% of the SPS would be, liquid SPS would be taken off the market and locked into the vault if Riftwatchers sold out, you may say that's not realistic. You could say, Tails, there's no way Splinterlands players are letting their SPS go at 5.4 cents to buy Riftwatcher packs. It's just not going to happen. players are going to hodl their SPS and just let Riftwatchers sit in the store. It just doesn't make sense for them to let that go. And that could be a theory for sure, but what I want to share with you here as we close out this video is I want to share some thoughts I had around Riftwatchers and why players may be incentivized to actually buy Riftwatcher packs with SPS and possibly with SPS that they don't want to exchange from the game, but possibly bring in as new fiat or dry powder into the game, which again drives the market volume that we saw earlier in the market, because that means people are taking money and buying off order books, driving prices up. If you think, one, that there will be demand for Riftwatcher packs in the near future, and two, that you believe that a lot of SPS whales aren't going to trade in their SPS in the game that they've been earning or getting for free or whatever for those Riftwatcher packs, and you believe that there could be a likelihood that dry powder or fiat or external investors come into the game, well, that's a perfect storm for price appreciation. So I'll leave that thought with you there, and I want to talk a little bit about Riftwatchers from our Splinterlands TV stream from this past Sunday, and my thoughts on, again, why Riftwatchers will be desirable and why I think there will be a pressure to pick up those packs here in the near future. Yeah, the promo card. We'll have to see what the promo card is going to be for Riftwatchers. I mean, I'm just excited that Matt's confirmed epic summoners for Riftwatchers. That to me is a huge deal. And I don't think I made a video on this specifically, but I think this is worth talking about as well. So if you look at DICE and the summoners here, I tell you what, like, of these summoners, the only one, like, I use Quid. I like Quid a lot. Like, if Conqueror Yasik wasn't coming out, Quid would be my main fire summoner for sure, because I could afford him and I like him. I wish I had a max level Lorna Shine. I can't afford her. I wish I had a max level Mylar Crawling. I can't afford him. Both of these you see all the time. Well, Milo probably more than Lorna, but you see both of these at Champion, right? I love my Ouster. I just got Ouster to max level because his price has come down, which I have no idea why. It's a great card, great card. And Brighton, I also just recently got to max level, also a great card. The only card here in DICE as a rare summoner that I would not use regularly in Champion is Vera. So what does that tell me? Well, it tells me if I was playing the game at the time that DICE came out, I should have bought a lot of DICE packs because I love all these summoners today, except for Vera. And, you know, I think they're going to be hugely valuable moving forward in the game. You know, 3 mana rare summoners with these abilities are fantastic. So why does that matter? Why do I think that matters for Riftwatchers? Is because if this is the precedent, if this is the bar, DICE's summoners are the bar for the epic Riftwatcher summoners, the epic Riftwatcher summoners are going to be fantastic. They're going to be maybe just a notch below the legendary Chaos Legion summoners. And to me, that's very valuable. And that's maybe how they justify the packs being $5, you know, is because they might have some crazy good summoners in those packs. So what are your thoughts on this topic? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to have a conversation on Riftwatchers and SPS and the path forward for Splinterlands and what the future holds. Again, I hope this video has been informational for you, it has been helpful, and it has been timely. If it has, consider joining our channel as a member. As a member, you'll get exclusive benefits such as exclusive content like this dedicated just to members, as well as access to town halls and live streams for our members only. It helps the channel out, and until next time, keep stacking those stats.
insert